Silence! It's time! It's time! It's
time for another episode of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Sit back to the back of the back of the grab a six-pack, sit back to the back of the back of the grab a six-pack, sit back to the back of the back.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 205 of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tyler, and joining me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself. We have Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Man, I am doing fantastic. After a hellacious work week, having a day off and actually doing stuff that I want to do, yeah, I'm feeling pretty damn good. Went ahead and got myself quite a few games. Oh man, going by GameStop, I actually discovered that I had like about $50 to about $70 worth of like GameStop credit like on my card, and I did not even realize it. So I used it, and I purchased Nier Automata and Titanfall 2.
Nice.
So, man, that in and of itself is pretty awesome. At the same point, left me with a little bit more extra room to see if I can go through and get in something else. So currently I have some PSN money stacked on my account, so I may be eyeing the Darksiders collection, but I'm just giving it like a couple days since the whole like Golden Week sales stuff doesn't end until May 9th. As a recording, this is like the Saturday, May 6th, yep. I believe.
May the 6th be
so,
with you.
By the time you guys listen to it, the sales will most likely maybe be over. Who knows? It just depends on whether Tyler can like go through and edit and do stuff. But
it'll be out Sunday. You'll be hearing this on Sunday if you download it the day it comes out.
But yeah, man, I'm doing fantastic. How about you, Tyler?
I'm doing all right. I have a question for you guys.
Yeah?
Am I the only one that finds it weird? We're all grown men here. That porn sites have share features on it.
Yeah, I always thought that was weird.
Fuck yeah, that's weird.
Like, yeah, who's
like,
sharing porn? Like, you like put it on your Facebook
like,
wall or Twitter feed. Like, that just seems weird.
Like, hey, guys, if you want to know what I just spent the last 3 odd minutes doing, here's this video. I just
go ahead.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, could you just imagine just going through on a porn binge or something like that, just sharing all the German Scheisse videos all over the fucking Facebook wall? That would be just terrifying.
Glory hole. So that's what you're into. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's weird. But anyways, other than that, it's just been bothering me for months. I just found out about this thing called internet porn. Like,
just now.
A couple weeks ago, I swear. Yeah,
I've been real busy in the meantime.
Yeah, my right arm is now 3 times the size of my left arm. Other than that, I've been doing okay. Things are slowing down at work, so I'm not working 9 million hours a week now, so it's pretty sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, a little more time to play games, which we'll get into, and do other things, live. But I don't work Saturdays anymore, so I had the whole day to myself. Another weird thing. So my dad, he is 47.
Yeah.
Fairly young for I'm 27, but we were I was helping him fix the front axle on our car or his car today, and I'm not the biggest mechanic in the world. Like, I know parts, but I'm not the best as far as like fixing things. But I was kind of helping him out, and we got stuck at a point. He's like, "We got to go to the YouTube and figure this out." And he kept referring to it. I'm like, "Oh, that's weird. Call it the YouTube." And then like 6 more times, he kept saying the YouTube. It's just, I don't know why. I don't know why I'm even talking about it right now. But it just bugged me for a long. Like, it's still bugging me. Like 10 hours later, it's like it's just called YouTube, Dad. That's all it is. And then you go and search it and you look it up.
It is the only one though, so he's not necessarily wrong.
Yeah.
That's true.
Grammatically, yes. But it just threw me off. I don't know why. But it was weird. But anyways, off my tangent. Troy's back. How
What's
are you doing,
cracking,
buddy?
everybody? What is the business? Yeah, I'm back. I've had a hell of a week. Lots of school stuff. I am As we're recording Saturday, I have done most of everything that I need for school. I think all I've got left is 1, possibly 2 final exams. The reason why I say possibly 2 is one of my classes, I took another class with the same professor last semester, and literally the day of the final exam, he told us, when we sat down to get ready to take the exam, he told us, okay, we'll open up a browser, go to the school online, website, where you access all of your homework and everything like that. He said, look at your grade. If you're happy with your grade, you can leave. You don't have to take the final, and the grade that you have there will be your grade. But he literally waited until the last day to spring this on us. And so I'm taking another class with the same professor that almost goes like 1 for 1, the same exact format as the class that I took last semester. So I am hoping that he is going to do the same thing, and on the very last day be like, okay, well, if you're fine with your grade, you don't have to take the final. I'm currently sitting at just over 96%, actually closer to 97% if you round it. So I would definitely opt to not take the final in that class, but I'm not certain. And that's the thing that kind of sucks, is because I don't know if I should study, and if I do study, how hard I should study. But I think that's probably his strategy in the whole thing, by not springing it on us. And then otherwise, I have one more class that I need to take a final in, which is one of the classes that I've kind of struggled in this semester. I had 2 Bs going into this last week. That class, I've actually just edged into an A, and I've calculated that I need to get at least a 72% on the final exam to have an A in the class. The midterm exam, I think I made like an 83 on that exam. And I actually took a hit on part of that exam because there was a take-home problem, which I ended up taking home, but I couldn't get it done before I left for PAX East, and it was due on Sunday, and I was still in Boston on Sunday, and I had no access to be able to do this take-home problem, so I ended up taking a late hit, so I lost points on that take-home problem because I didn't turn it in until after I got back from PAX East. So I am pretty sure I'd have gotten better than an 82 on the midterm exam, so I feel pretty good about being able to get at least a 72 on the final exam to get an A in this class. And then finally, the big chunk was my other class, where I had also a B in that class, was the semester-long group project where we basically built a business from scratch. And kind of as the semester went, we did all the research and everything like that. Well, that culminated in we had basically a business plan to write. We had to write a professional report on the business, basically a full analysis of the business. It ended up being 60 pages long that we had to get, professionally like bound and everything. So I spent basically most of last week and half of this week getting that report ready. So everybody wrote their individual parts, but then we got to come together, edit it, and make sure it sounded like it didn't sound like 5 different people had written this report. Like, you have to go and put it all together and then make it sound like it's in one voice, you know what I mean? So we had to do that, and then I spent 2 days kind of perfecting the paper, getting it ready to get printed, and then pretty much all day Tuesday running back and forth between Kinko's and the computer lab trying to iron out details to get this report done. Got that done, and then Wednesday we had a 20-minute presentation of the business to faculty members. So there was a panel of faculty that we basically had to present in front of. This is the capstone class for the MBA, in lieu of what you would consider like a thesis. Like, a lot of times people who are graduate students, they have to do a thesis paper. This is that for my MBA program. We basically had to go and create a business from scratch, and then we had to present it. So, and that included, we had to. It was suit and tie, professional PowerPoint presentation, and then followed by 40 minutes of question and answer from the faculty members. They basically grilled us on every aspect of the business. And once again, I had a B in this class going into this, and the report and the presentation are worth 85% of the grade. So even though I had a B, the vast majority of the points in the class were still up for grabs. I think we did pretty good. but I'm not certain. So this week I'm going to try and sneak down to the professor's office during his office hours and kind of get a feel for how we did, because I suspect he's not going to post the grades until the very last minute. And like I said, I currently have a 4.0 GPA, and I would really, really like to graduate with that 4.0 GPA.
No shit.
Yeah. But otherwise, everything's good. I know I have a guaranteed A in at least one class and probably 2 classes. And then one of them should be pretty easy to get an A. And the other one, I have no idea. And I'm stressing out about it. And I've also been spending today grading the last of the papers that I had to for my teacher's assistant job. So I should have some free time coming about pretty soon. Relatively free. I have to get ready for graduation this next week, and then I have to be out of my apartment the following Friday. So there's a lot of stuff going on with that. But hey, I can play some video games, hopefully.
There you go.
True. Yeah, that's true. A positive in there, I guess. May is a crazy month for you.
Yeah, definitely. And even going into June, my wife's got her board exams still to do, and also the search for a job and a place to live. As of right now, the plan is that we're going to put all of our belongings into storage, not next week, but the week after, while we search for a job and everything like that. And of course, my wife still has both a written board exam for her dental hygiene license and a practical board exam where she's actually has to find a patient, take them to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and basically clean half of their mouth and be completely watched over and graded over that. So it's going to be kind of a crazy month and a half or so. Hopefully it turns out well, though. I'm excited, but also a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
That's just natural, though, Troy. I mean, hell, I bet you and your wife are going to do very well in doing the rest of your stuff.
I certainly hope so.
You just got to keep on chugging it.
Yeah.
Gotta keep on chugging it, keep on continuing, man. I mean, you're not finished yet. There's still a lot of shit to do, but at the same point, just think of it. Once you get this shit done, you're going to feel like $1 million.
No doubt.
True.
On that same note, though, I'm probably going to be missing a few episodes of the podcast because next Saturday is the day that I graduate. And then by the following Saturday, I have to be out of my house. So most of my stuff is going to be in storage. So I don't know if I'll have the capability to record a podcast. I might have the laptop. I'm not sure if my wife will need it. So it may be able to record, but I'm not certain. So we may, I may be missing for a couple weeks, but I'll try and keep you guys up to date on what's going on.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
That's good. It's all understandable. These are big life events and changes going on in your life. So all of it makes 100% sense. But this is a video game podcast where we like to forget about all the crazy shit going on in our lives. It's bullshit about video games and other nerd culture things. So that's what we're going to do for the next however many minutes we feel like talking. So we're going to jump into some what we've been playing lately. I'm going to start with you, Troy. I know you've been busy, but I'm just wondering if you've stuck in some games since then.
The only game that I've been playing, and I've played a fair bit of it considering how busy I've been, is Puyo Tetris on the Switch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I picked that up last week. Actually, it was funny. I think I might have upset Tyler a little bit on the internet over that.
Not really. I wasn't that upset about it.
So it's funny. Monday,
I judged you, but I was upset about it.
Monday, I thought I had a dentist appointment on Monday. It's actually this Monday, but I had gotten everything ready and got out the house, and I was in the car, and I was calling the dentist office, and I was like, hey, guys, I'm running late for this appointment. And they're like, we don't have you for an appointment. And then the girl's looking. I'm still driving, and the girl's looking in the system, and she's like, no, your appointment's not till next Monday, which is this coming Monday. And I was like, oh, crap. And my mom was actually, so my parents, my mom, my dad, and my brother, they went camping at a lake that's near the city that I live in. They live in Roswell, which is a good 250 miles away from where I live right now. But they were at a lake close by, and they wanted us to come visit them. But of course, I've already told you how busy I was this last weekend, so I didn't get an opportunity to go see them. But they were passing through to get fuel, and my mom wanted to stop by Walmart to get some coffee creamer that they don't have at the Walmart in Roswell. So she usually has us get it and take it to her, but she was passing through town. So she was going to get it. So I was already out and about. So I was like, oh, well, I'll go meet up with them. So I met up with my mom, and we went, to Walmart and stuff. And she bought some groceries for my wife and I, because mothers like to worry about their children. And then so once I was done with that, I went over to Best Buy. I was like, well, let's go see what's out there. I was wanting to get Puyo Puyo Tetris because I knew that the physical copy of the game on Switch was a kind of a limited run. And I was at Target the night before and they had no copies of it. So I was like, well, I wonder if Best Buy has it. So I went into Best Buy, and of course this was the day that everybody was super excited about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, for a good reason. Like, I don't want to take anything away from Mario Kart 8. It's an amazing game. But I was in Best Buy trying to find a copy of Puyo Puyo Tetris, and I looked everywhere. It was really tough to find it, but I actually ended up seeing that it had like 3 copies of it on the shelf. So I went ahead and bought it. And then I took the picture of it in the car, and I was like, hey, instead of going and buying Mario Kart 8 Deluxe today, I made the absolutely correct decision to buy Puyo Puyo Tetris, which upset some people. People thought that $30 for a Tetris game was ridiculous, to which I say this isn't just a regular Tetris game. It's actually a really, really good Tetris game, and there's a lot of content there. I mean, I know some of the people on the ship, they're like, well, I tried the demo, and it's just a Tetris game. And it's like, well, there's a lot of content there. Like, it's not just a Tetris game. Like, the Puyo Puyo side, just in and of itself, adds an interesting twist, and the fact that you battle between, like, switching between Tetris and Puyo Puyo, and like there's different game modes where they're literally like swapping them on the fly, and a lot of cool stuff like that. They also have a story mode that I've been working my way through. I've realized that I have a problem when it comes to games. So the conceit of the story mode is real common among other types of games that are similar, where you have like 3 stars. So it's like you have certain criteria that you have to meet to get stars. And so it's like, oh, well, you hit this level and you get 2 stars. You hit this level, you get 3 stars. And I have this tendency when I play a game like that I have to get 3 stars in a level before I can move on to the next level.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
So it's like a completionist mentality. So I've only once again, along the same lines of this type of mechanic, the levels are grouped into like a chunk of like 10. So you have like 1-1 all the way up to 1-10, and I'm probably 2/3 through the first area. So I'm at like 1-8, but I'm going through and literally trying to get 3 stars on every level before I move on to the next one. I don't know how many areas there are, but it's kind of interesting. Puyo Puyo Tetris is a game that's been out for a while in Japan. The Tetris license is kind of an interesting thing. So for the most part, Ubisoft has the license to release Tetris games in America. They just recently released a Tetris game on the PlayStation 4, which was apparently pretty close to hot garbage.
Yep.
It was.
So this Puyo Puyo Tetris game had been out in Japan for a while. It's actually produced by Sega. And it was so highly regarded that a lot of people were importing the Japanese version to play on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. That's how like sought after this game was. And I actually had contemplated importing the Japanese version. GiantBomb.com got really into this game for a little while, and I think they were kind of responsible for the upsurge in interest in this game. And I almost imported the Japanese version because I was so intrigued by the coverage that Giant Bomb had done for it. But then I come to find out that they were bringing it to America in limited quantities for the Switch and the PlayStation 4. And the circumstances behind it are kind of interesting. Like, so the Switch, it's available digitally for $30. It's available physically for $40, but the physical version is a super limited release. And then I think it's only available physically on the PlayStation 4. It's not available digitally at all. And it's not available at all for the Xbox One, even though the Japanese version is available on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like weird circumstances surrounding the different versions of this game that you can get. But they did a really good job of localizing it. Like, they went through and did a complete voiceover. They did a voice translation in English. Everything is translated over. Like, they put a lot of work into this port. And it's actually a really good, charming game. And the reason why I picked it up was because I knew that it was super limited. Mario Kart 8, like, I'll be able to get that anytime. One, I already own Mario Kart 8 on Wii U, and I own Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS, so I have a portable version of Mario Kart. I definitely will get Mario Kart 8 for the Switch, but that's not something that I'm in a huge hurry to get, and I felt like picking up the super limited run of Puyo Puyo Tetris was probably a better idea, and plus it was $20 cheaper.
Yeah, understandable. Yeah, like you mentioned, I wasn't upset about it. I just was.
Yeah, I know. It was funny because your response was, those might be fighting words.
Yeah. I'm just a big fan of Mario Kart, and I was just kind of like, I was at break, and I was like, I feel like trolling somebody. Oh, Troy, he's all right, good time.
Yeah. I mean, I think like Thomas and Mike probably took the biggest exception to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is. I felt like it was a logical choice, and I stand by my decision. I will get Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It looks like an amazing game. I watched a quick look for it, and a lot of stuff on it. It looks amazing, but I chose to spend my money on Puyo Puyo Tetris. And I got a couple of really neat keychains out of the deal, too. I got one little Puyo and one little Tetramino.
Yeah, actually, I was hanging out with Justin just last night. We're talking, and he got Tetris... Puyo, I can't say the word. Puyo. I can't do it. Fuck it. It's over.
Puyo
Tetris. Did I get it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
My wife calls it Puyo Tetris, which is Puyo is chicken in Spanish. She's all chicken Tetris.
That sounds like a good game. That sounds like a good game, actually. Let's make that happen. But he actually picked up that game as well instead of Mario Kart, which he kind of talked about, like, his comes from work surprising. And his daughter, I believe, is 5 actually. Hopefully, I'm not wrong there. He'll come home and she's playing Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. It's just like she's happy with that version, and he likes to play games, and his daughter watches a lot. So why spend $60 on that game again when she's perfectly happy and he's perfectly happy with playing that version? So I understand that.
Yeah,
I've
talked about it on the podcast before, but my main consummation, I guess, is consuming of Mario Kart lately has been playing Mario Kart 7 with my daughter in Italy. So that's, I'm good. I've got Mario Kart 7 on my 3DS. That's all I need because that enables me to play with my daughter from halfway around the world. So I can go without Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for a little while.
Yeah, understandably, and I could completely understand why a lot of people that own a Wii U, why they don't get that game. It makes 100% sense. I picked it up. Obviously, I thought about last week, and I think I'm just going to go with what I've been playing lately. I played a few of the 50 cc's, and obviously finished first in those with no problem. Like we talked about last week, it's a great game, fantastic game. If you own Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U or you haven't, definitely, I think, especially if you haven't, you should pick it up. It's a great game. But it's still a good game, shockingly. Now it's in 60 frames per second instead of 59. So slightly better. The main things I've been playing, I like I mentioned last week, Outlast 2. I came back the next day, tried to play it some more, and I think I tapped out on it. I was going
to ask if you came around on it. I actually listened to last week's podcast and how you were talking about how disappointed you were in it. Yeah,
and I still am. And it's a bummer. And like I talked about last week, I love the first Outlast, and while my issues stay the same, they had an update come out there where they kind of balanced it a little bit. They made it a little more easier. I'm kind of curious if they made it easier, because I feel like the hard parts of the game, and it's not really a hard game, it's just the parts like where you're being chased, and a good chunk of the game, especially in the first bits that I played, is you're being chased, and if you take the wrong turn at all and you lose 2 seconds, and you're pretty much dead. You gotta start over, and I think that's what kills a lot of it. Is if I imagine if you played this game and you found the perfect the route you're supposed to go, that maybe you're still enjoying this game, but what kills it is it's the trial and error of the game. And oh, well, that was a wrong turn. Okay, now I gotta do this whole chase sequence over again. And the 8th time you're doing this, oh, I found there's this little hole in the fence, or there's this area I could slide underneath. It just kills the illusion of the horror in the game. It becomes more of an annoyance than anything. And I played it, and I actually looked up where I I didn't spoil the game for me, but I kind of looked up like the areas that you're supposed to go through, and I looked up where I was, and I'm like, I'm 5 hours into this game, give or take, and I was even halfway, and I'm just like, all right, done. I'm not playing this. I'm done with it, unfortunately, and it's a bummer because, especially, I paid $30. It's a $30 game, and sink money into a game, and it's digital only, so I can't even trade in, get some money back for it. It sucks even more, especially for the first one. I loved it so much. But the two main games I played this week, I mentioned it last week. I bought them, but at that point I hadn't played them yet. The first one I want to talk about is Kamiko. I believe that's how you pronounce it. It came out. It's been in Japan. It's kind of like the Puyo Tetris game. It's been on Japan on the Switch for a few weeks now. Finally came over to the States. It's on the Switch, $5. It is, I think, pretty awesome. The one downside I have with this game is, before I jump anything else, is I beat the game in 56 minutes. And I know that because it times it for you. Yeah, so it is a top-down, Link to the Past-esque kind of game with pixel art. It looks really good. It looks like an HD Link to the Past, which I'm cool with. And the combat. So there's 3 different characters you have. You have a character that only has a sword. You have another character that only has a bow and arrow. Then you have another one that has a sword and a bow and arrow, but they're not like their attacks aren't as powerful with the other ones. So it's kind of a middle ground kind of character. I played through the game with the sword character. And I tried a little bit of the other two, but I prefer the sword one more than anybody else. That's just kind of what I'm used to. There's 4 areas, and kind of the main goal of each area is to get to these like pillars and activate them, and it kind of you open up all 4, or you activate all 4 of them, and then you go and you fight the final boss, and you go through these areas. I think it's a fairly easy game. I only died 1 time in the entire game, but it's still a really fun game. It kind of reminds me of it's like Hyper Light Drifter Light, which if anybody has been listening to the podcast for a while knows how much I love Hyper Light Drifter, and kind of like Gauntlet-esque, I guess, in a way. Just kind of like the enemies and the way they come back and they fight, and you fight them, but it's just a really well made fighting game, and I like the enemies change over time, every level, and it's just relearning like, all right, cool, like they might look the same, but there's different ways you go about them, fighting them, and they add different enemies per every level, and it's just fun. You can't, like, I jumped in, I beat the game in like 1 sitting. Like it was great. I was watching wrestling, and I just started playing the game, and like, oh shit, I beat the game, and it just flew right by for me, which I think is a good way to tell if a game is good or not. But yeah, it's really good. Especially, 56 minutes, that seems short, but it's $5. And the Switch doesn't have a lot of games for it right now, so I feel like you have $5 and a Switch, you should probably buy it.
Huh.
I was going to say, does it have like a new game plus or something that like will get you to want to continue to play it even after you beat it the first time?
No, but they have the 3, like I said, the 3 different characters, so that you can go back and play it again. I feel like that's probably the closest thing to a new game plus, is just like you can play it again, and it's a different game every time if you use different characters. And then like finding like secret areas and like all that, like, and upgrading your, like, because like every time you beat an area, you upgrade your health and you upgrade your points, which the points you use to like activate, like open a chest or activate the pillars like I was talking about. And it's always pretty cool. And the boss battles are actually really good in this game too. Like my one real complaint about this game is it's fairly easy. The only time, like I said, I died 1 time. The only time I died was in the final boss. Literally, like the final form of the final boss. And only because there's a special attack that you can do. Like you can charge up your main attack and do like this crazy special powerful attack. And I had no idea that you could do it until I got to the final boss. And the only reason I found out about it is like they don't tell you anything. There's no tutorial. There's like a little cutscene at the beginning telling you need to do this to save this or whatever. And there's really no story to it. There's like 6 lines of dialogue at the beginning and then like 3 at the end, and that's it. So I would recommend, if you don't make the mistake I made, just like as soon as you start the game, go to the pause menu, look up the controls, and get all your info from there, because it will help you quite a bit. Because like if I knew about that special attack, it would have made the game even easier. Actually, I guess maybe you don't want to do that. I don't know. But there's a special attack in there that you can do, but you have to do
that, but then maybe don't.
Yeah, it's weird, but you have to do it in the final boss. But I don't know. It's still a really fun game, and it was just like it was just. I feel like I was playing an old school like game from like the '90s and stuff, and it was just like at the same time, it's like when I was looking at the game, I kept thinking back to Hyper Light Drifter. Not nearly as good as Hyper Light Drifter. Don't get me wrong, I love that game, but it's still like it's still a really well made game for what it is. So like I said, if you have $5 and you have a Switch, pick that game up. There's really no reason not to. The other game I played and I actually finished today is Little Nightmare. Came out, I want to say, last Friday. It's on PS4, Xbox One, and I believe PC as well, so Steam. It is a inside Limbo-esque type of game where it kind of has a lot of the same. It has a lot of that style to it. If you like Limbo or Inside, you know what I'm saying. It's a side scroller, but the one big difference from those games, Limbo and Inside, is that it's 3D at the same time, so you can move back and forth through the rooms. But so you play as a character named Six. I don't know if there's any relations to 11 from Stranger Things. But you're on a ship called the Maw. No relation to the game Maw that I know of. So it kind of starts off, you're this tiny little character, no bigger than like some of the rats. You see a lot of rats in this game. You're a little bigger than those. And you have like a trench coat on. The only thing you can see is you're barefoot. You can see the legs in this trench coat, so you never see the face. And you just, like I said, side scrolling, a lot of platforming. And so it's a good game to play through. I think it's a fun game for what it is. It's $20. I would wait for a sale. If you see it for $5 or $10, definitely pick it up, especially if you like Limbo or Inside, or you're wanting more of that. Don't expect it to be nearly as good, but if you want something like that, you're missing that in your life, pick this game up. As you go through the game, there's a lot of platforming to it, and there's supposed to be some puzzles. And I'm using parentheses when I say puzzles.
I was going to say supposed to be some puzzles.
Yeah, because the puzzles are like super easy. I feel like I'm going through the motions, I guess. Like you're just like, you walk into a room and it's like there's a bunch. It's just you walking through a lot of different rooms and finding out what you're supposed to do to get to the next room. And you get to that room, it's like, oh, okay, just move this chair here to jump on the chair, and then go through this hole. And it's really not puzzles. It's just like you're just moving the thing to get to the next level. It's like
I've played video games before. I know I'm supposed to get something to climb up here. Oh, look, there's a chair there. So of course I'm supposed to grab this chair, drag it over here, and climb up on top of it.
Exactly. That's what it is. And like at most, I think in a few occasions I spent a minute or a minute and a half to figure out, oh, okay, I'm supposed to do this. Because there's no real tutorial, but the little bit they do in the beginning kind of goes through the basic elements, and it never really advances from there. So it's just, you're kind of good after you go through that first section. Some of the coolest things about this, I think, is the art style. It kind of reminds me of what's that? Nightmare Before Christmas kind of style. Not so much claymation,
like a Tim Burton-y.
Yeah, like if Tim Burton made a game, and he's like, I love Inside. If Tim Burton wanted to make his own Inside game, this would be it. So some of the creatures you see in the game are really cool. One of the ones, the first one you see is he's blind, but he has really good hearing, and he has 3-foot long arms. And it's just you spend a good chunk of time trying to get away from him, and the puzzle, kind of the way to get around him without him grabbing you. And it can be frustrating at points sometimes where it feels like he's he just grabs you, you feel like you're safe, but he's just close enough to grab you and basically eat you. And that's the thing of this game. That's kind of the core thing, is that everything on this this boat you're on, the maw, wants to eat you. So it's just
it's Australia.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like pretty much everything is supposed to eat you on this boat, and you're just trying to. I don't even know. Like you're trying to get off the boat basically. And they didn't even tell you you're on a boat. The only reason I know you're on a boat is because I read the description before I bought the game. Like other than that, you wouldn't know it really that you're on a boat or what the hell's going on. That your name is Six. Any of that. Like it's just. Go ahead.
Are you supposed to be the little nightmare, or are the things around you the little nightmares?
Without spoiling anything.
Okay, don't spoil it.
Yeah, it's tough to talk about without spoiling anything.
Okay,
like because
don't spoil it.
There's no story to it. There's no talking. There's no dialogue. Anything at all. But there is like the way your character goes throughout the game. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And like I don't want to talk about it because it ruined the game and the fun of that game. I think. But like I said, like going through the game and dealing with the creatures and the art style of this game is what makes the game. It's the selling point of the game is the creatures and the art style. And the more you like, the deeper you get into it, the crazier that shit gets. My biggest issue with this game is the 3D element sometimes makes the platforming parts of it really difficult. Whereas just like you can't tell how you're lining up, so it's like I gotta jump to this rope over this like ledge. I gotta jump off this ledge to a rope and then slide down the rope. So you feel like you're pretty good. Like okay, jump and then, but it's like actually you're like nowhere near the rope and you just jump to your death. And you die. Now do this whole section over again, or jump on top of this thing, but actually you're nowhere near it. Like it's kind of tough to tell like where you're jumping to is in the foreground or the background. Sometimes, and you just kind of like you feel like you're good, but you jump and it's like holy shit, I wasn't even close to it. So I died a lot in this game, but all but maybe one or two of them was actually from like actual like gameplay elements, like me being caught by an enemy or something like that. It's just like trial and error of knowing to jump on this platform where that platform is and how to get close to it. And the checkpointing is pretty bad too, where it's like you got to go through like I said, like going through these rooms a lot of times is just like you know what you need to do. It's just a matter of doing them, and it just makes it annoying sometimes. Going through 3 different rooms, climbing up all these platforms to get to this jump again. It's really only 2 minutes of doing it, but that's your third or fourth attempt of trying to jump on this thing, and you're just like you're trying to figure out how to get there.
Especially if like the reason why you failed was because of like some weird mechanical issue and not like, oh, I totally screwed that up. Like you're just having to overcome the mechanics of the game. That could be super frustrating.
Yeah, and that's a good way to put it. Is like it's the mechanics of the game. It's not me being a bad gamer, I guess. And that's really like it can be annoying at times, but I feel like if you keep playing it, and if you get through the like. I would say check out the trailer. And if you like that art style and you think some of the creatures you see in this game look pretty cool, then play through the game because it's all pretty good. I beat the game a little under 3 hours. Another complaint is that I feel like the first couple like enemies you go through are really cool, and like the next one is just like, oh, that's the final boss. There's like no build up to the final boss. There's no foreshadowing at all in this game. It's just kind of like, oh, that's final boss, and it's over. Like it just feels like there's a section of this game that is just been cut out or it's missing because it just kind of like ramps up to the end and it's over.
So I just did the math real quick, and at $20, 3 hours, that's $6 per hour ish, $6.66 per hour for Little Nightmares. Whereas the Kamiko game, $5 for about an hour. It's actually a better value than Little Nightmares is.
Yeah.
If you're taking dollars per hour into account.
Yeah, definitely. I would, if I had to, like, say, get one or the other, if you had a PS4, Xbox One, or PC, and the Switch, you had everything under the sun to play, I'd probably go, if you want to play a game, go with Kamiko. If you're looking for an interesting possible story and a world, something to grab you, then I think Little Nightmares would be that for you. It just kind of depends, I guess, on your mood. It's tough because they're two totally different games. One's all gameplay, one's little to no gameplay, other than moving the left stick left or right,
going through the motions.
Yeah, it's tough to kind of, I guess, pick one or the other because they're so different. But I think both are really good games with some pretty big faults, but they do enough to overcome them to make them good games. Like I said, Little Nightmares, if you see it on sale, $5-10, it's a for sure pickup. 20, I guess, could be pushing it for some people. I don't regret the purchase, but I can see, some people might, it could be too steep for them. That's what I've been playing. I picked up Prey. I haven't played it yet, but I plan on playing a lot of it this week. What about you, Gables? What have you been playing? Gables is gone. Gables, are you there? Must have walked away. That son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's showing. He's still in the call.
Yeah, he walks away sometimes. Maybe he's getting ice cream for everybody.
Surprise!
Yeah.
I hope you brought enough for the whole class.
Fucker, he better.
So Little Nightmares is a pretty good game, right?
Yes! Oh no, it's PV good. So tell us, Gables, what have you been playing?
Yes, you gotta forgive me here. Just had to step out, just do a couple things, put the dog in the bed, just shit. But anyway, what I've been playing this week is predominantly little bits here and there. I mean, during the gaming week, I really just didn't really play too much of anything until like around pretty much today. I've gone through Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I am now clear through 50cc with all courses, 100cc with all courses, and I'm beginning on the 150. My thoughts have kind of remained the same from last week. The thing that I've noticed pretty much is going through the races and stuff, and like the item frequency has really increased tremendously, especially when it comes to like the blue shell towards like the end of not like just the end of the races, but just being hit like 2 to 3 times per race with a blue shell. It gets kind of annoying after a bit, but on the most part and stuff like that, the game just feels really balanced, even though the amount of frequency of items being like tossed at you, do this and do that and stuff. I'm still winning races where I'm either lapping a few characters or going through and being not even like a few seconds, maybe like close to about 20 or 30 seconds winning over like people who are inside second or third. So I haven't had too much issue so far going through the earlier CC settings, which I shouldn't, because hey, it's a Mario Kart game and normally 50cc is a very easy thing to go through. But 150cc's, I'm picking up a little bit more of the difficulty. I barely won like the third race out of the 4 that I did for the Mushroom Cup on 150cc because I kept getting item spammed a lot, and I managed to edge out like I think it was either Mario or Luigi or something like that at the very last second when I went through. I did the little special jump that you do off of ramps and stuff like that, where you press the button and stuff, and it does like a little move or something like that. Then I did that while going into a paragliding, and because of the car that I had and stuff, the speed and the acceleration and stuff like that are a little bit quicker than normal. So I see my glider just go through and just speed right through and just cut Luigi right off, and I finished first during that race. But I am really happy in terms of my purchase with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe because the biggest benefit has been taking it with me on the go while doing errands out and about. Just getting in a couple races here and there, putting in standby, then going through, doing a couple things. It's really the ease of use, just the accessibility of Mario Kart 8 anywhere is really beneficial, and it just kind of makes me glad with the Switch in general, just bringing like console-like experiences, like how Zelda Breath of the Wild is, and how this one Mario Kart 8, it just feels like a natural evolution of like console gaming in and of itself. Because, hey, I can go ahead during the week, I can play my Switch connected to my TV, but if I really wanted to do some, like, errands or something like that, I can take the device, go on the go, play a few rounds of Mario Kart 8. It's just that type of game where it's really relaxing. But other than that, I've actually downloaded a few games from the whole PSN Flash sale. I ended up buying Rainbow Moon, which I am going to be trying out probably sometime soon. I say probably sometime soon, it's because, yeah, it's just that time of the year where I'm scouting for different types of games to try out, to play and stuff, and who knows what I'll eventually get to it, but apparently I'm in the urge to try to play a little bit more of the Vita, as I also downloaded Steins Gate. What Steins Gate is, for anybody that's kind of not in the know when it comes to some of the niche PlayStation Vita games, yes, this is a visual novel that I've heard all sorts of praise for. It actually has a particular anime also, but I've seen certain gameplay of Steins Gate around a year ago. I've been waiting for the right opportunity for the price to go down so that I could purchase it at a reasonable price, which, fortunately, for the PSN Golden Week sale, it was only counted down to about $3, nice. Which
that's a pretty good deal.
That is a hell of a good deal, considering that was a $40 game at one point. So I download it, and as soon as it downloads, I start up my PlayStation Vita, start playing it, and as soon as I started playing it, I looked at the clock. It was already about an hour and a half. And basically, I was just going through, reading a bunch of the text, reading a bunch of things. But the thing about Steins Gate that's really interesting is the story. The story has a way of easing you in and actually latches on to your interests in certain specific scenarios that they present you opening up at the start of the game. It's sort of like a slow burn where it slowly opens up until around, I would say, an hour of playing the game in and of itself. Because pretty much what you're doing inside of this visual novel style game is you're mostly reading text, and you're going through, maybe hearing some voice acting stuff here and there, but as soon as you're reading certain texts, there will be certain words that'll pop into little random definition, little bubbles and stuff, where you actually have the access to press the L button when you're not reading intense dialogue and actually read through some of the terms that it presents. I kind of like that feature. Say if you don't know a specific term or specific reference they actually have something handy for you, so when you press the L button, you can go through and read a bunch of the different types of definitions. I didn't know that there was supposedly this mention for, oh boy, there was this one person that by the name of John Tito or something like that back, and this makes a reference to old internet posts from the early 2000s, but apparently they made a reference to this one dude who apparently was from the year 2036, right? And he went November of 2000, posted on a message board all these different types of future events and all this other type of shit, which was kind of fascinating, just reading some of those blurbs and stuff. But it's just little instances like that where it just presents you with a bunch of terms. It's not afraid to go forth and just go through and start spewing different types of terms, different types of philosophies, different types of theorems, scientific theorems and stuff that you can actually go through and read some of the definitions, and it can be quite fascinating, and it has me sort of hooked to an extent where I want to delve in a little bit more. But let's see. At the moment, I'm probably going to be playing it maybe a couple times throughout the week, possibly. More than likely, it's going to be my Saturday go-to game if I'm really not feeling into being stimulated too much, because this is easily the type of game where I could probably have sit in my chair and stuff, just vegging out a little bit, just okay, I'll read something like this, do this and do that and stuff. It's kind of more similar. I kind of akin it to an actual anime series, to where you can just binge watch a couple episodes, turn it off, then just go through and continue to watch it on say Hulu or Netflix or wherever the hell. But it has me sort of interested in buying its sequel, which is also available on the PS4 and on the Vita itself. Well, pretty much that's what I've been playing.
Sweet.
Yeah, very nice. So this week, as far as news goes, it is going to be a Nintendo heavy week. Pretty much all the big... Again, yeah. They've been dominating the news since basically January. So first up,
for real though.
Yeah. First up is the Mario / Rabbids rabbit game that the Rabbids, popular from Ubisoft. That game was rumored a few months ago. People thought it would be a launch title actually for the Switch, and it was talked a lot about in December and January. So it's pretty much been proven to be real. I guess some concept art has been out there. Kotaku has confirmed the game is in fact happening. It'll be out in either August or September. Ubisoft is developing the game. It is going to be a turn-based combat game with 2-player co-op. A goofy sense of humor is one of the big things for it, and obviously Ubisoft is in charge of making this game. Mario's going to be in it. The Rabbids are going to be in it. This game sounds terrible. What do you guys think?
Sounds interesting.
Ooh.
I think it's crazy that Nintendo is like basically handing Mario over to Ubisoft to try and put it into this game. Like that's a lot of control that they're just handing over for their biggest character. Seems kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It does seem really crazy for the sheer fact that not only just the sheer fact that the Nintendo is actually licensing out, like going through and putting Mario and stuff, letting another company borrow and try to incorporate it with the type of game that they want to do this type of thing. So what it feels like to me, it's like a big old collaboration between Nintendo and Ubisoft. Hopefully it's going to be something that's going to be of higher quality than what that some of us are initially thinking about. Because every time I think Rabbids, I think of the terrible games that were on the Wii.
I think of the Minions.
They're kind of like that.
The video game equivalent of the Minions.
Yeah,
certainly.
So like I haven't consumed much media that deals with the Rabbids. Like I've kind of seen them here and there, but I've never actually like consumed it. I always get a very Minions vibe from them though, just real wacky.
Essentially, they are. Quintessentially, like the Rabbids is sort of like the Minions, where they're kind of annoying. They're kind of like have used to like maybe a few like certain blunt sort of comedic relief sort of things. I mean, they were more akin to Rayman, obviously, because that's where it kind of spun off for on the Wii and stuff, where like Rayman's Raving Rabbids and stuff like that. But other than like starting off the subsidiary and things, they also had their own cartoon show on Nickelodeon. Never watched it, but it's just the fact that it's kind of interesting that Ubisoft would actually go back to the Rabbids sort of way or sort of pool. But it also makes me kind of think about this maybe like a Mario and Luigi style game where it just features the Raving Rabbids. And because of the track record that Nintendo has had with their past couple games that are on the 3DS, it doesn't really leave a bit of positivity for me personally looking in, as it could be like, it possibly may be like a mediocre sort of game at best, but I've not seen any gameplay. I've not seen any type of like atmospheric type of things. I haven't even gone through and see some of the conceptual art that's been leaking out on there. So, you know what? I'm going to be fairly positive about this.
I wonder how much input Nintendo's actually got in the development of the game, because I mean, the article says that Ubisoft is the one who's actually developing the game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wonder how much like say Nintendo has, or how much input or even influence Nintendo is going to have. So yeah, I mean, there's a chance that it could be structured similar to like the Mario, Luigi RPGs, or it could be something completely different. Like, it's kind of weird, kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, there's quite a few possibilities for that.
Yeah, and
You
I feel like this is almost like a pay-to-play kind of thing in gaming, in Nintendo's sense, where it's like Ubisoft's like, hey, you want us to be a part of this? Which is weird because usually Ubisoft loves to be the part of a launch, consoles at launch. Like, you want a game from us? than give us Mario. And it feels like almost like they held that out there as a bargaining chip, and they gave it to him to get a big non-first party game, but with a first party character to get it on their console. And I feel like this would, I mean, without knowing anything about this game, I imagine E3. I imagine this game has to be announced then officially by Nintendo to to be relevant by the time it launches. That's what it feels like to me. And those Rabbids games, like even when it first came out, I played a little bit of the first one on the Wii when it was a launch title on there. There was like a buttload more after the fact. Played those ones, but the reviews and everything about those games has been middling at best. So I'm not positive with the fact that Ubisoft is making it. That's just going to be a great game. I'm hoping that since Mario was in it, that maybe Nintendo will put their foot down and make sure that there is that Nintendo polish to it. But I don't have really high hopes for it. I hope this. I imagine if anything, like if this game comes out middling, if it's like a 70 something in Metacritic, when it's all said and done, I think that will be the best bet for this game.
I was actually just thinking, correct me if I'm wrong, but Nintendo kind of announced at their investor call that they aren't going to have like a major presence at E3 this year. Am I correct? Have you guys heard that?
They won't officially be at E3, but they'll have the Direct like they always do.
They will have the Direct. Okay, so that's confirmed. I was wondering if maybe this game might show up at the Ubisoft press conference.
Ooh,
That's actually an interesting idea.
I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
I literally just thought about that. First, I was going to ask about the Nintendo Direct, and while you were talking, I just kind of had this flash in my mind. I was like, I wonder if this is going to show up on stage for Ubisoft, which would be an interesting thing.
Well, it's definitely making us want to maybe watch the Ubisoft press conference, considering that that's a possibility.
Yeah, since Ubisoft is usually one of the first ones to go, and Nintendo is always the last to go. I wonder if Nintendo or Ubisoft would. I guess maybe Ubisoft would want to announce it since they're making it. And yeah. I bet it'd have a bigger audience to it probably than Nintendo would. I don't know.
That also makes me wonder: has any Nintendo game ever been on the stage of another press conference other than Nintendo?
iOS. Well, really, Apple.
Oh, yeah, they did for the Apple thing.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, with Super Mario Run.
That'd be kind of unprecedented, though.
Yeah.
Huh.
I wonder if Ubisoft
That's something to look forward to.
Yeah. I wonder if Ubisoft's ever done Wii stuff, though. Like, they probably announced some Wii games, exclusive games, back in the day. But
during their press conference?
Yeah, during their press conference. I wouldn't be surprised if they have. I don't know off the top of my head for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But yeah, I mean... This could be, as far as Nintendo goes, outside of the Apple stuff, as far as in video games goes, this could be a big first for them, potentially.
That almost is more interesting than the game itself.
Yeah, honestly, I'm more interested in the run-up to this game being announced than I am the game at this point. And I hope this comes. They show it off and it looks cool and it's amazing and the people love it. I just. With the fact that when I read in the article that Ubisoft was making it, at that point I lost all hope because it's Ubisoft and they're not exactly the best at making video games sometimes.
Oh, they're constantly now trying to fight off Vivendi, so
yeah.
Like it's kind of a weird dynamic. You never know, like from week to week, like what kind of situation Ubisoft's in. So Very true. It ought to be super interesting. Like I honestly think that the story behind the game is probably going to be more interesting than the game at this point.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised 2 years from now that's still the case. But moving on to the next topic. So Nintendo announced some details on the first expansion for the expansion pass for Breath of the Wild. They announced it when the game at the Switch press conference that there was an expansion pack coming to Breath of the Wild. The first one coming out in the summer. The second one coming out in the wintertime. So they got some details on expansion pass number 1. No release date yet, just still summertime 2017. But what we do know is there will be a hard mode. So all the characters that were a medium difficulty were now bumped up to hard. So everybody's went up a notch in the world as far as you go through the world. So especially when you want to the Great Plateau, it's going to be even harder than it was before. They added a mode called Trial of the Sword, which sounds kind of like a horde mode. And you go through what they said about 45 waves. I don't know why they go about, but they're not being specific about that. And once you beat it, you unlock the true power of the Master Sword, which I imagine means that. I think I think what they said is that basically it increases the power of it, but you'll still have to have the spoiler, I guess, for the Master Sword in Breath of the Wild. After a little bit, you'll have to wait and let the Master Sword recharge after so many hits and wait like 10 minutes. So that part will still be there, but as far as I think it will increase the power of it itself. Another thing is that there'll be actual monsters in the sky throwing shit at you, so you can possibly go up there and fight them if you wanted to with the glider, maybe, hopefully. That's the thing they're adding to the game. More stuff they're adding is the Hero's Path, where you can actually see where you've gone, and it will give you a full tracking of everything you've done in the game for up to 200 hours.
Oh.
So whatever you've done in the last 200 hours, it will give you a path and draw out on your map where you've gone. So if you haven't gone through a section, maybe a good area of the map that you missed, it will show you on there. You'll go through the map and it'll show you oh crap, I haven't even gone through the northeast.
I completely ignored this whole chunk of the map.
Yeah. So if you're missing some shrines or Korok seeds, or you just want to see what's in that section, or see what maybe you miss, that's a good way to go. And that's pretty cool, I think. The other thing is there's going to be a chest out there somewhere in the world. They haven't said where. They have what's called the travel medallion, which you can use to make a fast travel point for you. So if there's an area you go to frequently that doesn't have a fast travel near it, you can just set that there, and it will be your fast travel point. And you can move it to wherever you want, but you can only have one fast travel point at a time. So it'll be the only fast travel point that's not a shrine or a tower.
Does it give details on that? Do you have to physically place that someplace for that to become a fast travel point?
You have to put it. You can put it anywhere you want, but you physically place it there, and you can go back to it anytime until you move it.
Okay, so it's not like go to the map and just lay down, I want to fast travel here.
No, you have to be there and then set it down yourself. And then the last thing is they've announced a lot more outfits and masks to use. So you have a Korok mask that you can put on. It's just what all the Korok people have, the little leaf-looking thing. You wear that, and alarm kind of thing will go off. It tells you that there's a Korok seed nearby, so if you're trying to get all 900 of them, that's probably not a bad way to go. Also, the Tingle outfit will be a thing, so you can look dressed up like Tingle. The mask from Majora's Mask, so Majora's Mask you can wear, and also Midna's helmet from Twilight Princess, and a few other ones as well. So that's coming sometime this summer, but that's kind of the big things coming to the first pass and the expansion pass of 2. You guys excited about this? This is going to make you go back to the game this summertime.
I'm still playing the game.
Yeah, true. Yeah. But do you think this is...
I mean, a couple of the things sound kind of cool, like the Traveler's
Medallion.
Way? No, the thing where it actually traces your steps.
Oh, Hero's Path.
Hero's Path. That seems kind of cool. I don't know how much use it would be, but it'd be really neat to be able to see, kind of the trail that you've blazed through Hyrule. It'd be kind of cool to see. I see the Korok seed mask probably be pretty useful, trying to hunt down Korok seeds.
Most definitely.
But yeah, I mean, the rest of it doesn't necessarily appeal to me a whole lot. I don't care about hard mode. I'm not necessarily interested in a horde mode. But I mean, yeah, it is what it is. I think, but the thing that I know we talked about when this was all announced was that you have to buy the season pass to get either of the sets of DLC. So if you want that story content that's coming in the winter, you still have to buy the season pass. So you might as well, get a piece of the action now.
Yeah. What about you, Gables?
Most definitely, I'll probably pick it up sooner or later. I mean, especially since during the holiday season and stuff, it's going to be expanded sort of single-player content, too, for, like, the story stuff. So I'm going to be definitely probably picking it up, like, maybe, like, in around another month or two. Who knows? It's when I feel like I want to go back through Breath of the Wild and stuff, which, hey, it may not be until another few months since I'm too preoccupied with stuff, but I will go through and probably get this DLC pretty soon.
Yeah, like I already bought the expansion pass. I picked it up when the Switch first came out, and I remember we talked about back when they first announced there was being expansion pack. Like I figured the first one in the summertime wouldn't be much of anything, and they even kind of said so when they announced the expansion pass. Is that like there'll be some stuff coming to the map that you can use, and the second one you really get the full expansion pack, full dungeon, everything to it in the wintertime. So I'm not really disappointed or anything or upset about it, I guess, because they kind of told you in advance. If you went into it expecting something, that sucks, and I feel bad, but you probably should have looked more into it beforehand or kind of kept your expectations in check. But this is kind of, I think, a lousy or shitty expansion. If you bought it's like if you bought a season pass and it's just like, hey, here's some more armor or bullshit skins you can have. Here you go. And that's what it feels like.
Especially if you're already done with the game, it's nothing that's going to draw you back to it.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at. Like I haven't I have beaten the game, but it's like other than the hero's path, where it draws out where it shows everything you've done, like travel to and everything. That's the only thing about that wants me to go back and check it out, see what I've done. I put 40 hours in the game, which is a lot for me to put into a game that's not Madden. So I would like to go in and see all the areas I've been to and see what I missed and haven't checked out. But other than that, I don't think I'd go back and I want to go check those areas out. I don't know if I really.
No, it's just more like, that was cool.
Yeah. So I feel like that would be it for me and nothing more. But the outfits, I don't give a shit about because I pretty much wore the exact same outfits through 90% of the game.
You went through wearing your Nintendo Switch T-shirt.
I never got the Nintendo Switch T-shirt. I got I missed all the. That's another thing that pissed me off about the expansion pass is hey, there's 4 chests in the game that you can find, or there's 4 chests in the game that have you can only get if you bought the expansion pass, but they're not right there at the beginning where you can easily find them. You got to go out and find I'm sure I could look it up on the internet and go get them right now if I wanted to. Easily.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
But fuck that. I paid you real money for this thing. Just give it to me. Just let me have it. It's not like you're giving me anything that breaks the game. You're giving me a little T-shirt that says Switch on it. But yeah, hard mode. Fuck, this game's hard enough as it is. Fuck that.
I'm not trying to make it harder.
Yeah, no. No, definitely, especially in the beginning. Yeah, fuck that shit. Trial of the Sword, I like the combat, but the combat of Breath of the Wild isn't good enough to the fact that I want to play through a horde mode. I don't want fucking enemies flying above me, throwing shit at me either. There's outside of that, and then the medallion thing is kind of cool, but that's it. The hero's path and medallion, that's the 2 big selling points of this to me. And if you're still playing the game, or you're picking it up later on down the line, I wouldn't blame anybody for buying the expansion pass right off the back. But as far as 4 months, 3 months or so later after the game's been out, there is no reason to jump back into that and check out those. There's no benefit really to me, or I don't think most people to get those and go back and jump into it again. Other than if you want to just play a great game over again, which I completely understand. But yeah,
having not finished it and not bought the season pass yet, I think I'll wait to see what that winter DLC looks like before I even decide if I'll even spend the money on the season pass. Historically, I don't necessarily spend a lot of money on season passes or DLC. Typically, I'll just play through whatever is included in the vanilla copy of a game and be perfectly content. Yeah. Very seldom have I bought DLC and thought that it was super worth my while to buy. So I'll just make the call whenever we find out what's in that winter chunk, whether or not I'll even bother.
Yeah,
spending the money to get the season pass at that point.
Yep.
And it's probably the smart move, actually. Where we're at right now, it's like I don't necessarily regret it buying the season pass, the expansion pass or season pass or whatever, because it's only $20. It wasn't a steep price point, but like I'm definitely not getting my money's worth out of it at this point in time. So I'm hoping that the winter one is fucking incredible, because I feel like it has to be worth it, because that's really what everybody is buying the expansion pass for, is for that.
I agree.
Yeah, you know what? Not like I said, there's not a lot of news coming out right now. We're kind of in the run up to E3, so there'll probably be some weeks where there's no news or a lot of rumors and leaks and shit like that. So
yeah, we'll probably get a lot of leaks right before E3.
Yeah, so it's going to be kind of a hit or miss week, or hit or miss as far as the news goes for the next few weeks, because people are holding shit in and shit's leaking out everywhere. So we'll find out. The next month or 6 weeks or so is going to be really interesting as far as games. Not so much maybe new games coming out, but news goes. But I want to thank you guys so much for listening. If you want to hear more from us, we are on Facebook. We have a page and group. It is Drunk Dash Nerds. So like and join us on there. On Twitter, we are at Drunk Nerds Pod. Follow us on there. It's a good place to go. Both Facebook and Twitter. As far as when the episodes first come out, those are the first places they get updated. When they do come out, if you're not on any of those or don't want to check us on there, we're on YouTube. We have an account on there. It is Drunk Dash Nerds Podcast, or Drunk Dash Nerds, I'm sorry. So subscribe to us on there. It's been kind of weird sometimes where I'll post a show and it could be an hour later, could be 4 days later. Sometimes it takes for the show to pop up on there. So maybe not the quickest way to get us as we come out. I don't know. I can't really control that as far as that goes.
I'll tell you what, though, you just keep an eye on Twitter, and usually that link goes out on Twitter, the YouTube link, so that way you don't have to search for it on YouTube.
Yeah, so that's what I say. Like Twitter, Facebook, two best places to go if you want the show the minute it comes out, the best place to go. And also on Twitch, we are Drunk Dash Nerds Podcast, so follow us on there, and whenever we're streaming or anything like that, that's a good place to check us out and now you know what we're doing, what we're up to. So I want to thank you guys so much for listening. I was your host, as always. I was Tyler.
I've been Troy.
And until next week, everybody, I have been Colonel Gables. The legend lives on. Until next week, everybody. Bye.
Boys.
Peace out.
Excuse me. Few too many beers there. Anyways, we're on iTunes now, so go on there, check us out, and if you like us, leave us a review, and we'll even shout you out. And Jack will send you his credit card number.